All righty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's episode of Roundabout Sports, presented by Harsh Construction LLC, with over 50 years combined experience in home renovation, landscaping, construction. Be sure to call 618-363-9818. That is 618-363-9818. Harsh Construction, LLC, proud sponsor of Roundabout Sports and Interstate 70 Sports Media. Thank you so much, folks. It is Wednesday, February 25th, 2026. I'm the Maestro, Jeremy Karp, and my co-host, Adam Frecks, will be joining us in just hopefully shortly. I know he is on his way. A great show in store for you. And of course, this is episode 165. So if you're just tuning in for the first time, where have you been all these years? But just in case you are brand new and tuning in, Roundabout Sports can be found on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, Amazon Music, and any and all other streaming platforms you have out there. Also, of course, be sure to follow us on Facebook, X, and on the official Interstate 70 Sports Media YouTube channel. Also, as always, now we put this at the end of the show, but we're also going to do it at the beginning of the show this week. For the NAMI helpline, you dial 1-800-950-NAMI, 1-800-950-NAMI. That is the National Alliance on Mental Illness, the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization dedicated to building better lives for those who struggle. And of course, we put up the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. And for that, you dial 988, and that line is open 24/7, 365, 366 on leap years. Understand that you are never alone in the world that we live in. So once again, folks, welcome to Roundabout Sports. We got a lot to talk about today, and I guess it's only fitting that we're going to kick it off by talking about the Winter Olympics. And man, oh man, was that a thrill. I always love the Olympics, though. That's my thing. I always have such a blast watching the Winter Olympics and the Summer Olympics, for that matter. And this year was no different. And the hockey, congratulations to both Team USA men's and women's on taking home the gold medal. It's the first time both teams took home gold in the same Winter Olympics. And of course, it goes without saying that Team USA men's winning it this past Sunday in thrilling overtime fashion. Although I guess it is a bummer that Jordan Binnington was the goaltender for Canada, so it was at his expense. But it was an overtime, thrilling matchup. I really enjoyed it. Fantastic game. Now, I guess it goes without saying that even though both men's and women's hockey took home the gold for Team USA, the United States did not win, per se, the Winter Olympics. Norway finished with the most medals overall, with 18 gold medals and 41 total medals. The United States finished second, 12 gold medals and 33 total medals. And the Netherlands actually had their best Winter Olympics, finishing third with 20 total medals, 10 of which were gold. And host country, Italy, finishing in fourth, having 10 gold medals and, interestingly enough, 30 total medals. So while they had more than the Netherlands, or while they had more total medals than the Netherlands, it was just because the way the Olympic medal table goes, obviously gold first. And then if they're tied at gold, then you go by silver. Netherlands did have more silver medals than Italy. So that is why they have, their place in the whole standings and everything. But with that said, I'm telling you right now, It has been a crazy week in the world of sports. Spring training is officially underway. Um, we are in NFL combine season, off season, just, little under a month and a half away from the draft. There is so much to talk about. And love to see, Jimmy Harris tuning in as always from the independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. Be sure to send in any of your questions, comments, concerns. Well, not necessarily concerns, because come on, this is a fun time. We're here to have fun. My pleasure, though, today is we are going to be speaking with, for those that don't know, we are at Interstate 70 Sports Media. We like providing exclusive and hopefully in the eyes of you, the viewers, top coverage of the St. Louis Ambush indoor soccer team. They play at the Family Arena in St. Charles, Missouri, so not too far from, where I'm at. And I'm going to be honest, they are an absolute blast. And this year, especially, is a very wonderful year because this is arguably the best season that the Ambush have had right now. After 17 games played, the Ambush lead the league with 33 total points. They are 11 and 3 and 3. And a lot of that has to just go with the fact that they're very great when it comes to home. Playing at the Family Arena. They have only lost 2 games all season at home. So, but it's not just about the Ambush that we're here to talk about. It's actually an event coming up, and we'll be promoting it. I'm about to have the graphic on here momentarily because in a couple days they'll be taking on the Baltimore Blast, and the game will start at 7:05. And this is a special night because it's called Women in Sports Night, and a lot of prominent women in roles with sports organizations in the area are going to be there. And the thing of it is, I'm in no position to be the one to talk about this. And I am gracious and I'm grateful and blessed that the St. Louis Ambush, I have, and here it is right here. We have a wonderful guest in store, and I'm about to bring her on now. She is actually spearheading the Women in Sports Night at the Ambush game, and she's with the St. Louis Ambush organization. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome this week to Roundabout Sports, the amazing Alyssa Grither.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here on Roundabout Sports, Alyssa. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. And like I said, thank you so much for having us on. I'm excited. I'm excited that the Ambush have been on an absolute tear this season. This has definitely been, the best season that I've seen them. And so, no, it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's been a great season so far. We just ended our last home game 13-0 with our goalie Paulo's first ever shutout. So that was a pretty awesome game. Pushed us into first that weekend. So right after we played at home, we went to Milwaukee and clinched that first place spot. So it's pretty awesome to start off a long stretch at home.
I was gonna say it's definitely been a hot minute because I remember, as far as them being, atop the MASL, because I remember the trying times of the Ambush really trying to find their identity, establish some consistency. And another thing that I love is that the fans are really showing out. I remember there were games where maybe just a couple hundred, if that, were showing up. If I recall correctly, the last game over 2,000, and on average about 1,500 to 2,000 fans have shown out for home games this year. which is
Yeah,
phenomenal.
people are really showing up for us. Our fans have been amazing this season. Even the game where, on the 24th, where it just snowed like crazy out here, we still had a couple hundred in the building, and they
I
cheered
was
like
at that
it was
one.
full. It was awesome.
I couldn't. Yeah, I definitely could not believe just the environment. And it's wonderful. Now, there's a lot of promotions you guys do. There's a lot of great events you guys do at the ambush games. And you've had alumni night. You've honored the St. Louis Steamers. You have autograph night where all the fans get to come down and you know the team will be around on the field and sign autographs and posters for everybody. I mean, it's just wonderful fan interaction. So I want to put the graphic back up for the 27th. Take us through, first off, the brainchild of where did this whole concept of women in sports night come from?
So I'd seen a couple other teams do it before, and I just wanted to figure out how do we incorporate that. It's a men's team, so I wanted to do it in a way that it didn't take away from their spotlight. So after talking with Shelly and David, so David's our GM, we kind of came up with this, and so we put together a lot of different aspects of the night that just kind of fell into place. Like it was beautiful the way it all came together, and I'm really excited to see what actually comes of it on Friday. So we're gonna start off the night pre-game. We are gonna do a women and girls sport panel. So we're gonna have let me make sure I have all the names right. So Shelly Clark, obviously our owner, will be there to talk, as well as Dr. Taylor Onion from UMSL. Shannon Reese, she is the supervisor of ticket development for the St. Louis Cardinals. Lexi Bajardi, she is the manager of community relations over at St. Louis City SC. And then Lindsay Eversmeyer, who's the head men's soccer coach over at SWIC. And she actually was also the first woman to be signed in indoor soccer, men's indoor soccer. So
really
cool. Yeah. So she's an awesome lady. She knows Shelly well, so we're happy that we could get her over here for that as well. So that is mainly for our students and anyone else who wants to join and kind of talk to these ladies, hear their stories. So we're very grateful for St. Luke's because they're actually providing it for free for students. So that way they can come in and hear these stories just to really get that inspiration and just see what they can do in sport. So I'm really excited to start out with that. And then during the game, still pregame though, we are going to do a parade to celebrate the girls' teams in attendance. So they can come down, walk on the field, see what it's like to be a pro for a little bit. And then we're going to do a few other things throughout the game. The St. Louis Australian Football Club is actually coming out. We're going to celebrate their championship win that they just had. We are also going to be honoring a young lady who passed away this November. Her team is going to come out to the game, so we're going to honor them during intros. So lots of different aspects to celebrate the women and both the men. We want to celebrate just sport in general.
Means
You're cutting out a little bit.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say. So what I said was, what does it mean to you to have this all take place and have so many amazing, prominent women in sports be a part of it?
It's just amazing. I graduated from Lindenwood, and I had one of the most amazing female professors I've ever had, and she was such an inspiration to me. So to have women from all different aspects of sport, we do have a professor as well. They're just such influential people, and I'm very excited to give other students an opportunity to see what it's like to have someone influential close to them that they can reach out to, that they can connect with. And so I just think that's going to be really exciting. it's also just exciting to share what we do with some of the other women in sport.
So, I guess my question is how was it going about getting these women on board, and what made it be at an ambush game, as opposed to maybe just a weekend event or something that we see a lot of.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we first came up with the idea of the panel, we actually reached out to one of the employee groups over at the Cardinals, and they kind of told us what they had done before in the past. And we wanted to find a way to incorporate this, but we didn't want it to be limited. So we thought, what better way to get people to be able to come in for a panel like this, but then to also come and see the game firsthand. So some of these ladies attending, they may not have been to a game before. So I think it's really awesome for them to be able to do both, as opposed to just limiting ourselves to one weekend. So it took a lot of brain effort, a lot of reaching out to connect with these ladies, but they've been awesome to work with. I'm super excited to meet them. I think it's going to be great.
And, my thing is, I think it's a wonderful thing because it isn't something that you necessarily hear a lot about. And it's kind of that innovative thing to do, especially in what is a, men's league. But to your point, you're going to be having the first women's soccer player that was signed in the league as a part of this event, which kind of makes it even all the more special.
Yeah, if you go on to the St. Louis Soccer Hall of Fame, you could read more about her story if you're not going to be in attendance. I think that it's a great story to read. She played in one game, and then after that, they decided to sign her for 5 more. So it's a pretty inspiring story. For her to have that opportunity and take advantage of it is incredible.
What is the biggest, I guess, way to put it, the biggest goal to achieve from having this women and girls sports night take place?
Yeah, I think the mission is really just to celebrate. I think that we should be celebrating milestones of all kinds. Athletes and people in sport do a lot of work. So I think it's important to just celebrate it, even if it's not a big celebration for a championship or, a win. I think it's important to celebrate the little things, the showing up, the working hard, all of it.
And here's my question. I know Shelly do you know how many women owners currently are in the MASL?
So I believe that she is the only majority owner. So I think Shelly and our other owner, Jeff, are very close in their ownership percentage. I don't know the exact details on that. But she also is the only owner on the board for the MASL. So it's
wow,
very interesting what Shelly does. She's very involved. She's incredible at what she does. I've been blessed to be able to work with her and learn from her. So
I was going to say, how did you get your start within the Ambush organization?
Yeah, so it's actually kind of a fun story. So one day, a couple of the people that worked there at the time, they were in Sauget, Illinois, at a Grizzly game. And I was there, and I went over and talked to them. They told me that they were looking for someone, and the next week I was in the office, and the rest is history.
I was going to say, and it seems like it wasn't something that you expected to happen at that moment.
It was not. No, it was not. So it just kind of worked out, met everyone, all just kind of clicked, and just started learning and growing from there. So this is my second season with Ambush. I took on a bigger role in August as the director of group sales. So it's been a growth period, and we've had some new members come on, including David, had some members shift. So Donnie's now the GM of our soccer operations, Donnie Alberti. And him and Jeff have done a great job of really turning the team into something great.
So we have, I want to have this comment here. We love it when people send in their comments and everything. We got one that says Shelly is amazing. So what is it like for you working with Shelly.
She truly is amazing. Whoever said it the best. She's very very strong in her leadership. She is very caring when she goes about things, but she's strong-willed and she makes things happen. She's incredibly organized and she's just a great person to learn from.
We have Barbie tuning in, the fabulous Babs herself, who's a member of us here, our I-70 Sports Media family. And she will actually be, or plans on being, at the event on the
Awesome.
22nd. So she is
Looking forward to having
especially
you.
excited. She is our head of, in addition to being a podcaster and huge wrestling aficionado, she is our head of marketing and sales here as well. And, I
Awesome.
trust her with so much, and she never she never lets me down. So, and I know, you guys are gonna lay a lot of inspiration onto her, and I know it's gonna be wonderful.
I'm so happy to hear that. And I'm excited to have her at the game.
So our next comment we got here is thoughts on cross promoting with the Blues, Cardinals, Battlehawks, and how do we do more of cross promoting with other St. Louis sports teams?
Yeah, so it's something that we've explored. We haven't quite made it happen yet. I know it can be difficult because while we are in the greater St. Louis area, there is a little bit more space between us than everything that's downtown. So it can be difficult to really foster that connection. But this
We are having potential technical difficulties. Give us just 1 second, folks. Hang on 1 second. So give me 1 second. I hope you all are still there. We have Alyssa Grither on from the St. Louis Ambush. So stay tuned. We will have her back on just shortly. Let me resend her that link. Once again, we are having Alyssa Grither on here from the St. Louis Ambush, talking about women and girls in sports night this upcoming February 27th against the Baltimore Blast. And until then, just bear with us, and we'll be right back on Roundabout Sports, presented by Harsh Construction, LLC, and Interstate 70 Sports Media.
Sorry, not sure what happened there.
Oh, that is A-okay. I know we've technical difficulties happen. You are A-okay though. You're back. So we have another question that happened while you were gone, actually.
Okay.
And it is, how would you sell, you being in sales, marketing, being able to try to promote, how would you sell indoor soccer to non-fans, to people, and get those bigger crowds and people familiar with, who you have?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of it comes down to creating something that's more than the game. So this is one of those aspects in which we're creating something that is more than the game. And that's what we try and do. It's what we're building as we go. But a lot of it is just making sure that you're not limiting it to people who only like soccer, because then you're kind of alienating those fans that aren't so much into soccer, and they're kind of like, oh, well, I don't know if I should go because it's not really my thing. But we don't want that. We want all kinds of people. It's a great experience. It's not about just the soccer. We really do create a family here, and that's what we want people to be a part of.
Now, on March 7th, I believe is the mascot game, and somebody and I think that is actually going to be the next game I will be in person for, if I remember correct. No, not March 7th. I'm sorry. That's my daughter's birthday party. I'm thinking of a different one. But for the mascot game, how would you go out and how do you go out to these other teams, get the mascots involved from different organizations?
Yeah, so we've connected with a lot of them before, so it's a lot of just going back to people and say, hey, are you available on this date? We want to get you locked in, kind of well, if you come to ours, we'll go to yours type thing. We spent a lot of time trying to branch out to other people. I know we're gonna have a few new mascots this year, so that'll be fun. It's it's a very funny game to watch at halftime when all the mascots are running around. So it's usually something that people want to be a part of, and they will reach out to try and figure out when our date is as soon as we know it if we haven't already sent it. So it's a great atmosphere to be a part of. People don't really usually grapple about having to come out for a mascot game. They're usually pretty excited because it is just so much fun.
I was going to say, and I believe the last home game is March 27th. And that is the one I know I'm definitely going to be at. So you get the two, I like this. Bushwhacker always wins MVP. Fred Bird needs to step it up.
Well, maybe we're a little bit biased.
Oh man, I like that. So how do people that are new to the St. Louis Ambush, where do you think is the best way for them to go get tickets? Which avenues are the best way for them?
Yeah, absolutely. Call us, go to the box office. Those are the best ways. You're going to get to deal with a real person. You don't have to go online and deal with those sorts of problems. So if you just call us, we're happy to help. I'd like to think I'm usually pretty helpful. So, and over at the box office, they're great. I usually have no complaints from them or about them. They're awesome. They help us keep our crap together.
And I got another question. I have an idea of the loyal fan, Ambush fan that this is asking all these questions. Now, they want to know if there's any upcoming watch parties, great places to go in the area to catch the St. Louis Ambush if they're not able to make it to the game, things of that nature.
Yeah, so as far as watching the game, we're either on CBS Golazo or we're on YouTube. I'm not sure when the next watch party is coming up, but we do have our post-game hangouts, I guess you could call it, at Hot Shots. So fans are welcome to join us. We love it, having people come out. Fun interaction, good food. It's a good time.
I was going to say, explain the first network. I know it, although I don't subscribe directly to it, but I know it's like one of the homes of the Major Arena Soccer League.
Yeah, so you can download the CBS app. I'm not sure if there's a specific one that just goes to Golazo, but you can download the CBS app and find it from there. You can either search Golazo or search St. Louis Ambush. It'll pop up. And you can also go to the site. We usually have the guide on there as well.
Okay, awesome. Now, my question, I have a couple more. First, explain to the folks about the Ambush 2. I know they have a good social media presence, much like the St. Louis Ambush do. So kind of explain the concept and what they're about.
Yeah, so are you referencing the outdoor team?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so we call them FC Ambush. So it's a different branch off of the MASL. So same but different. They are a part of the USL League 2. We play over at MOBAP, so Missouri Baptist University. We play on their field as our home field. We'll have 6 games this summer. It is about the same as you would usually get, just on a lower scale. So Missouri Baptist holds about 1,200, I think, is about the number. So
Okay.
it's super fun. They're at night, so you don't have to worry about the sun. It'll still be a little bit cooler off. I know that's one of my favorite things about indoor is the outside elements don't matter, but MOBAT's a great facility, great team, very new atmosphere. We're working on building upon what we had last year as our opening season. So super excited to see what we turn it into. I know we have a lot of great interns that are helping us work on what the next steps are so we can build it and keep growing.
Awesome. So my question for you on a personal level for this
Yeah.
event coming up, you know, being a woman in sports in a leadership position, you know, with a lot of responsibility, you know, there's a lot of women out there in the world that probably do have their doubts on, making, leagues, businesses that could be seen as male dominant. What is your inspiration or pieces of advice to them, as we come up on, once again, such an important event coming up?
Yeah, so I think one of my biggest notes that I've always thought to myself that it's important for people to understand is that there is a place for women in men's sports. It's not just for men, just as women's sports aren't just for women. I think that there's a spot for both genders and in any field. You know, Shelly really truly has been inspiration for me. She's done a lot of great things. She's been there through it all for quite a while now. She and Jeff do a great job. I think they balance each other well. I think it's really just about showing the next generation of female athletes and women who want to get into sport that they can do it. And I think it's important for them to hear other stories because it is seen as male dominated a lot of times, but that doesn't mean that they can't be a part of it too.
I absolutely love that. That is wonderful. And I'm going to give you kind of the floor to promote Friday's game and events, since it is, and you're going to be just such a big part of it, and I think it's just phenomenal that you and everybody involved is taking part.
Yeah, so it's going to be a really fun game. There's going to be a lot going on other than just the game. If you happen to be a part of or coach a team or the parent of a female team and you want to come out to the game and you're there, and even if you didn't tell me, come down for the pregame parade. We'll get you on the field and we'll make it a good time. Other than that, I think it's just going to be a great night for celebrations all around, just to celebrate the people involved. We're going in on top, number one. Let's hope we can hold on to it. So it'll be a really fun night. And then Sunday we've got Star Wars night. So it's going to be a crazy, fun, packed weekend.
That's going to be so much fun. Well, Alyssa, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being on this evening. I know you have such a busy schedule, working with the ambush and everything. And it's been such a fun season. Let's keep the hot momentum going. I look forward to seeing you at a future game. So overall, just have a phenomenal event this coming Friday, and let's keep the winning going.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, and we will see you soon.
Looking forward to it. Alyssa Grither, folks, from the St. Louis Ambush, live here on Roundabout Sports. Thank you so much, Alyssa.
Thank you.
Just an absolute treasure, treat, and God bless her and the St. Louis Ambush and everybody who is a part of the organization. Folks, we will be right back here on Roundabout Sports, presented by Harsh Construction LLC and Interstate 70 Sports Media. And we are back here live on Roundabout Sports, episode 165. I'm the Maestro, Jeremy Karp, and there is an interesting story that has come out over the past couple days. So, okay, for those that are fans of professional football, like the NFL, UFL, college football, there is a play known as the tush push. And the tush push, okay, it's basically it's just sounds like it's exactly what it sounds like. I'm just gonna just say that right off the bat. And last year, the NFL, the Green Bay Packers specifically, tried banning the tush push play, and it failed by 2 votes. This year, well, it got banned, but not in the NFL. This year, it got banned by the UFL. And this decision could and probably will significantly affect the short yardage situations that you will find in the UFL, and especially in a league where being aggressive is a lot more commonplace. Now, once again, the ban actually comes shortly after NFL Competition Committee co-chairman Rich McKay had stated there was no rule proposal put in place by any of the owners in the league to consider banning it this season in the NFL. So once again, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles popularized the tush push in the NFL, which quarterbacks are shoved from behind by teammates in the backfield while basically the O-linemen in front of them get down and dirty. And, basically 99.99% of the time is successful. It has become very controversial. And once again, that's kind of why it led to the whole ban proposal in the league. But in the UFL, it's just one of many rule changes that the UFL has proposed. And there are some interesting ones. Okay, let me really just kind of go about this because, okay, so of course, ban the tush push. Now, a 60-yard or longer field goal is now going to be worth 4 points. Now, I'm going to be honest, and God, I hate saying this because it makes me sound like I'm aging myself, but back when I was growing up, if a kicker kicked a 50-plus yarder, it was still kind of crazy. Very hindsight 2020 if they make it or not. But nowadays, it's almost hit like the norm of hitting a 50-yarder. So you got more kickers that are hitting 60-yarders. And I look at it to where now, and of course in the NFL, if a field goal is 3 points no matter the distance, but now they've moved it to where in the UFL, it could be 4 points for a 60-yarder. I also know that they adopted the NCAA rule requires only 1 foot in bounds for a completed catch. This was used by the XFL back in 2020, but it promotes the offense, and of course, when it promotes the offense, it makes things hell for the defense, but that's kind of neither here nor there in that regard. So that's one of the other new rule changes. There are the 2-point conversions will now align with the NFL, placing it at the 2-yard line. Prior, it had been at the 5. And they will also have options to kick for 1 point from the 33-yard line or go for a 3-point conversion from the 8-yard line. So, yeah. It is definitely a lot of new, unique, innovative things in place. So, yeah. The question is, will it be next? will the NFL be next in banning the tush push? So, yeah. Moving right along now, the St. Louis Cardinals, like I said, we're in the spring training season, but the St. Louis Cardinals announced the class, well, I guess you could say the class of 2026, for the voting for the Hall of Fame class. And the 4 players named were Brian Jordan, George Hendrick, Yadier Molina, and Albert Pujols. This is where it really does become interesting. So, from now through April 17th, you go to cardinals.com/Hall of Fame. So HOF. And, vote one of those players. One of those guys will get in into the St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Fame. I've had some interesting takes from people over the course of today on who they think should get in this year. And the majority might surprise you. And a lot of them say George Hendrick because of his imperativeness in these 1980s teams, especially the 1982 World Series Cardinals that won the series over the Milwaukee Brewers. He led the team in home runs that season. And keep in mind, he was the power hitter on a team that did not have power. And I also look at it to where, to a lot of people's points, we already know Pujols and Yachty are going to get in. So get George Hendrick in now. Yachty can be in next year, Pujols the year after, or vice versa, however you want to do it. So, and also, one of their inductions into the Cardinals Hall of Fame could coincide with their future induction into the National Baseball Hall of Fame, Cooperstown. So we will see how that goes. But, of course, Pujols played the first 11 seasons and then his last season with the Cardinals. Molina, arguably one of the greatest catchers of all time, perhaps the greatest defensive catcher, played his entire 19-year career with the Cardinals. George Hendrick played 7 seasons for the Cardinals at first, was an MVP candidate in 4 of those seasons, and he was known as Silent George. And then he also was a former hitting coach for the Cardinals. And then Brian Jordan played 7 seasons with the Cardinals as well, and was a top 10 MVP candidate while with the team. So a lot of great choices. To be eligible for the Cardinals Hall of Fame, nominees must have played for the Cardinals for at least 3 seasons and have been retired for at least 3 years. The pool is divided in between 2 categories, modern and veteran players. Now, the veteran players list are ones who've been retired for more than 40 years. Right now, in May is when the inductees will be announced, and the ceremony is going to take place Saturday, September 12th. So yeah, you can go to cardinals.com/HOF to vote, and to also view the other 58 members of the Cardinals Hall of Fame. I will say it is a very beautiful museum, one of the second largest in terms of artifacts for baseball. Obviously, Cooperstown number 1, but the amount of memorabilia and history within the Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum is phenomenal. So, yeah. Once again, I want to thank everybody who's tuned in this evening. You can find Roundabout Sports, and I also have my dad who tunes in saying George Hendrick gets my vote. So Silent George right there. And of course, before we wrap it up for the evening, I, also want to say this is a very special episode for me, not just because I had the pleasure of having Alyssa on the show to talk about, women and girls in sports night coming up. And once again, that's February 27th. And if you're tuning in on the live stream version of the show, I have the graphic right there. But this night also, is an emotional one for this day, not just even this night, is an emotional one for me. Because, today is an anniversary where 5 years ago today, I sadly lost my grandma, which is, always an emotional time for me, and as it would be for anybody. But she is always in my heart, and I always will love her and always miss her. And I thank you all for tuning in. And as always, we're going to wrap up Roundabout Sports and tell you that we can be found on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, Amazon Music, and any and all other streaming platforms. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, X, and on the official Interstate 70 Sports Media YouTube channel. Thank you so much for that, because we are almost at 400 subscribers and 500,000 views on the YouTube channel, where we got great shows like the STL Hockey Fan Podcast, the Blues Fan Forum Podcast, Issues with Wrestling. Of course, like to think we're a pretty good show here too. And of course, as always, we put on at the end of the show the NAMI helpline. For that, you dial 1-800 NAMI. The National Alliance on Mental Illness is the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization dedicated to building better lives for those who struggle with mental health issues. And we put up the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, and for that, you dial 988. The line is open 24/7, 366 on leap years. Understand you're never alone in this world. There is always somebody out there who loves you, who cares about you, who wants nothing but the best for you. And we are all here in those trials and tribulations and struggles, on a daily basis, perhaps for some. And your feelings matter, and you matter, and you're just a phone call, a text message, an email, an appointment away from what could be that life-saving moment for you. And you can be the listening ears and watchful eyes for someone in need as well. I want to thank you all for tuning in. And until next time, I'm the Maestro, Jeremy Karp, and remember, life is a book full of empty pages just waiting to be written in. Make your lives worth reading. Good night, everybody. Take care.